Welcome to TV Free Baltimore's Books and Authors.
When I was 17 years old, I watched Paul on the Hollywood Squares and Uncle Arthur. I thought he was a very handsome man. I also thought he was the most funniest, unique man ever. I did a lot of research at my local public library, and a book said it had Paul Lynde's business manager's phone number. I called the number. It's Paul Lynde himself answering the phone. He couldn't believe a fan found his phone number. I convinced him to meet me in New York. He was coming to New York. He lived in California. At first he said no. I asked him to the prom on the phone. He said no. Can you meet me? And time went on. I finally convinced him for an autograph and a picture in Manhattan for 5 minutes.
Okay.
I go to meet him at the Pierre Hotel where he was staying, and the hotel's on fire.
Oh, no.
So the whole day, my dad escorted me, which was why Paul said I could come as long as my dad took me. And it was supposed to be a 5-minute interview, turned into 2.5 hours.
Wow.
Gave me my picture and autograph, and then he wrote something on a piece of paper, and I said, what is this? He says, this is my home address. I want you to come and visit me. Terrific. And we had a lifelong friendship from that moment on till he died in 82.
That's amazing. So you should be almost the authorized biography.
There you go. Well, the Lynde estate is well aware of the book, and they seem to be happy with it. And they gave me some unique, rare pictures of Paul that no one has ever seen to put in the book. And I also interviewed Cloris Leachman, Kay Ballard, Peter Marshall gave me a foreword for the book. Unbelievable. It just came full circle. I wanted to meet him. I also always wanted to be an author since I was little, and it turned around that I ended up writing a book, and it happens to be about Paul Lynde that I got to meet.
Did you interview other members of his family?
Yes, I did. I interviewed. The only ones that are left are his nieces, and they both gave me some wonderful interviews about what it was like having him as Uncle Paul, because it's Uncle Arthur from Bewitched,
Right,
and so now we got Uncle Paul.
Right. And I know he was also in Bye Bye Birdie.
Oh, yes, he was. He was in the original Broadway play, which Champion Gower wanted him for the part, and Paul was excited. But then when he saw the script, it was only 9 lines. He got very upset, and they promised him, Gower promised him it would turn into a bigger part. Well, Paul's so funny, the part just grew, and he was a hit from there.
Now, maybe earlier, how did he get to be known? Did he start off as a stand-up, or what was it?
He went to Northwestern for acting, and was popular with Charlotte Ray, known then as Charlotte Lebowski, and they were the most popular at Northwestern, called Lynde and Lebowski. Okay. And he walked out with the best actor of Northwestern, went to Manhattan, thought it was going to be easy, and he wasn't discovered for 9 more years. He went on 1952, the New Faces of 52.
Oh, okay.
Got noticed.
Okay.
It was quiet again for a long time, and then he ended up getting the part for Bye Bye Birdie. That opened the doors.
And that launched it for him
for the next 30-year career
until
from
he
the
left
Monsters,
us, right?
until he, unfortunately in 1982.
Yeah, that's a shame, yes.
Yeah, that was a sad day.
And is there anything you can tell folks why they should read this book and why we should rediscover this man?
Paul Lynde was a very personal man. He was a man who at the time of their career, if you were gay, you'd lose your career. He trusted me. I got a glimpse at his very personal life. And people did not know anything about Paul except what they read in the papers. And he did have a drinking problem. And everything in this book is the good and the bad. It's a fair book.
Okay.
I think Paul would like it.
Okay.
I think he'd be okay with it. But I do have everything in there, the good and the bad. And everybody has vices. He had a lot. We all do. But I balanced it. And I wanted people to see the other side of Paul Lynde. Yes, he was funny. And to go out with him, a scream. A real scream.
I'm sure he was very generous as far as he was with his time with you, at least.
He was at the height of his career. He didn't have to bother with me. Took me into his life.
Girl,
yeah, and went on into my 20s, and my friend Barbara over there was at his house with me. He welcomed my friends.
That's good.
And we had a wonderful relationship until he died.
I think part of what I do is say we want to hear the real people, what they were really like, not what people think they were.
What they think they were like, and rumors and this. I think I get you. Yeah, that was there.
In the old days, the phrase would be flaming gay.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but he was. I wasn't so sure he was gay when I first liked him, but.
Yeah.
He left me for a waiter one night. So.
Then you figured it out.
I figured it out. Yeah,
Maybe
that was
it.
Yeah, yes, it did. It broke my heart. I didn't speak to him the next day for a little while, but we ended up working it out. And then I loved him for who he was.
Was he you think an actor who prepared a lot? Was he?
Oh my gosh, he
didn't
was.
Just wing it and
No,
with it.
he was a perfectionist, a script man. If he did a movie, he not only knew his lines, he knew everybody else's lines as well. A real perfectionist.
Terrific.
Could be tough to work with because if your timing's off. Cheetah Rivera gave me a great interview about her and Paul at the original Bye Bye Birdie, and she said, he did get tough with people if they weren't on time or they ruined his timing. But she said she never heard more laughter and applause than when Paul was on stage, and that's we all remember Paul watching Hollywood Squares, come home from a hard day. You're sad, he made you cheer you up.
The center square.
That's a center square.
That's right. He was like, the star when you're that center square.
Absolutely, and he did well for
It seems
his career.
like this for you then was really like a labor of love.
Oh, absolutely. I loved the research. I loved everything doing it about him, and the hardest part was, writing the chapter about when he died.
Right, of course.
But the rest of the book, I think people will get to know him. I wish he was here because
Yeah, that would be great. I would have liked to have met him myself.
they'd line up to see him, and he'd be hysterical today, just as he was, and he was a
Shame
lot
you
of
didn't
fun.
see how I think public opinion has changed about homosexual.
Oh yes, I think he'd be thrilled that he could be open if he wanted to, and I think he'd be great on a reality TV show as a cook, because he was a cook.
He was.
Chopping up the carrots, chopping.
He was a
he'd be
good- he was a
hysterical.
good cook.
He was a gourmet. He was known as a gourmet cook
Gourmet
in
cook.
Hollywood. Yeah,
Wow,
he
terrific.
entertained all the time.
How about that? Now, is this it for you? You have other books you're thinking about or planning?
If I do another book, I was thinking going fiction for the next one, but I'm not so. My passion is with Paul, and I just think the world. There's still a lot of this world who love Paul, who aren't even aware of his life story, and I want people to see that before I go to my next project.
Terrific. Well, we want to thank you for spending a little time with us.
Oh, my pleasure. It was fun.
And people can find this book where?
Amazon.com, and just Google it. It's there. Just Google Paul Lynde. You get Paul Lynde and Cathy, or Paul Lynde, a biography. His life, his love, his laughter.
And you want to give us maybe how people can reach you, like an email address or whatever
Sure.
you use. Please say
You
that.
could. It's the. I'm on Facebook at Paul Lynde, a biography. His life, his love, and his laughters. You can also go on. I guess Amazon. There's a link to me. Also, you can find it for the author page.
Okay. You don't have your own author webpage.
I actually do. It's www.paullindeabiography.com.
Okay. Well, thank you again.
My pleasure.
And keep up the good work.
Thank you, and thank you for the interview.
You're watching Books and Authors on TV Free Baltimore.